Hey guys, it's KaguraFireCosplay, and we are finally back to my first book log in a long time. So we're covering everything from June to December of 2024. So we got quite a bit. Life just got away. I was very busy. A lot of stuff. And there are a lot of months where I did not read quite as much. It's only been the last couple that I've really gone to pick back up. But this is just gonna be super long, reading log, so strap on in, enjoy the ride. Yeah, so the first book I read was Crumbs by Danie Stirling. I read this from May 30th to June 15th of 2024. I don't have too much to say about this. It was very fluffy. We had the two characters getting closer. They truly valued togetherness, which was pretty sweet. They cared about each other's interests. It was cute. Not necessarily my favorite thing I've read, but still pretty cute. That's my first time reading that. Then I read Love Theoretically by Hazelwood, July 8th to July 25th of 2024. It's very science-based, like a lot of her other books. It's very quick relationship. Kind of got started pretty hastily. For me, it didn't feel too natural, the progression of the relationship. And yeah, there is a cameo from The Love Hypothesis too, which I did not review, but I do have that book and I do enjoy it. So at some point I'll reread that and get that info to you guys as well. But yeah, so I would read that over this one. And then have At Home in Adelbury by Tess, Barnett. I read this July 22nd to 23rd. So this is about this this guy who has writer block, so he goes to this small town, kind of Hallmark-esque, and there's an elf, there's an orc, just relationships going throughout it. It's queer, but it's really cute. So super light and cute. The way people interact with each other is filled with respect, a lot of healthy outcomes within the relationships, and I don't know, it's just, I really enjoyed the writing of this. You can tell that there's a lot of thought put into how people talk to each other, things like consent, and it was really nice to see and read, and you feel good reading it. Like, there's nothing that makes you feel a little bit questionable, which often comes up in romance books, even if you do enjoy them. There's always usually like something of, are you sure that's really okay? So it's just really, I really enjoyed this one. I look forward to reading more of her stuff, but yeah. And then I read An Improbable Season by Rosalyn Eve. I read this July 29th to 30th. It's Regency period. I covered 3 different characters and their poor-lane relationships. It's pretty confusing at first with the 3 characters, which you'll see some of my opinions on having 3 characters later on. Through this book did it much better than the one I'll talk about later, but it does take a while to kind of categorize everyone. And then it's very teenage too, which makes sense because this wasn't marketed as an adult book. I'm not even sure if it's marketed as a YA book, so which isn't a bad thing per se. It has its target audience, so especially if you are younger, that's probably a good option for you. And it's definitely not too historically accurate, but hey, it's fiction. It's basically fantasy anyways. We can, you know, ignore it. It does have a really cute ending. Then, next book we're going to talk about is Karakuri Burst Flash of the White Wolf by Hitoshizuku. I don't know why my mouth just did that. Hitoshizuku. You get what I'm trying to say. It'll be in the description if I'm horribly butchering it. I started this July 31st and ended January 6th of this year. And that's because this has never been translated into English. You can get like a chapter fan translated online if you look hard enough, but nothing else has been. But I do own the books, so it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna Google Lens the whole thing because I've had them for years. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do that. I really don't recommend doing that. It definitely disrupts reading quite a bit. But I love the song series so much that I want to at least try it. And I still have the other book too, so, you know, maybe I'll do that as well. And I also have Mistletoe as well, so might not be my last time doing that, but it's not a full reading experience. It's very brutal and sad from the get-go of the story. You have kind of an interesting take on these characters, a lot of that we know from our Vocaloid world. And then some characters are named and some characters' names are changed a little bit. Like Miku's just straight up Miku, while Rin and Lin are a bit different than their names. There's confrontation, and one thing that surprised me is how many more characters are in it than just the Vocaloid ones, which is kind of fun. But yeah, so my recommendation of this is go listen to the song series and listen to all of it because you will have to hunt to find some of the songs, but it's fantastic. I think it's a great example of what Vocaloid has to offer. And then we have Hungry for You by Michelle K. I read this August 1st to August 8th. This was definitely a little bit different than my normal taste of what I would go to and read. But it was still enjoyable. The relationships are a little bit challenging, like how they work with each other, interact with each other, but it works out all in the end. And there are other books as well that follow some of the other characters, so there's more to read as well. But that's about all I gotta say on that. And then Dragon Slippers by Jessica Day George. This was a reread for me. It was one of my favorite series as a kid. I read this August 9th to September 6th. But basically, our main heroine gets, well, basically like, I don't know, she ends up in the dragon lair. When she leaves, she takes something from his hoard, and that dragon's particular hoard is shoes, and she takes these slippers. And let's just say these slippers cause her some problems. It was really nice to reread the book and get to experience the series again. It's a really fun cast of characters between the dragons and the humans that we interact with. The ending's super cute. But yeah, I love the series. Then I read Birding with Benefits by Sarah T. Dubb, August. Oh, wait. Oh, I think I missed writing about a story, a book that I read in here, because I joined a book club, which is where I read this, but I read a book before this, the month before, and it's not in there, so, that was not another love song, I believe. That one was pretty good too. That's all I'll say on that. We'll keep moving. But yeah, Very With Benefits, Sarah T. Dubb. I wrote this August 20th to 29th. It's a romance where girly somehow ends up in this guy's birding competition with him. Which is kind of a fun plot that you don't see ever. So, the cute plot. The writing did throw me off quite a bit at various points in time. It's just, she was trying to do something, and I see what she was trying to do in terms of the writing to make it a little bit different, but it just didn't work for me. And personally, I didn't feel, while there were spicy scenes, I didn't feel a ton of chemistry was actually built to lead up to those moments. So, not bad, but not my favorite per se. And then another reread was the Star vs. the Forces of Evil Cinestory comic by Disney. Read this September 4th through 5th. And it's just the retelling of the first couple of episodes. It doesn't add anything to the plot, except for like the little bit of ending stuff, but it exists. It's cute. It's fun. I love Star. So, you know, I have Adam MacArthur's autograph up there where you can't see in frame for Marco. But, you know, still fun. And then, oh, okay, yeah. Then I read Dragonflight by Jessica D. George, September 8th through 14th, which is the second book in the Dragon Slipper trilogy. So same little synopsis I gave there, but continuing on. It's a fun addition. It high-ends the plot throughout the story. It's fun to see all the characters in a new environment because they're not in their home kingdom. I love the focus on the dragons, and you really get to know them, which is fun, especially the other ones that we meet a little bit later on in the first book. And the romance is within this book as well. And then I read Dragon Spear, which is the final installment, September 15th to October 18th. You get to see the main heroine's brother. There's a whole dragon island. A lot of betrayal in this one. And the relationship's still really cute. You kind of see more furthering of the plot, so I can't get into too much. But very cute. And then more book club. This was the book club book for October, but I didn't read the first one, so I read the first one before. So my roommate is a vampire by Jenna Levine, something like that. And I read this September 17th to 18th. And basically, girly is broke and needs a place to stay. And for some reason, this apartment's just super cheap. And, you know, the guy who owns it isn't there most of the time anyway, so, you know, because he works, you know, the night the night shift, right? Right? Definitely not a vampire. Anyways, he definitely is a vampire. So, but the comedy is so good in this book. I generally don't really laugh at stuff too often, so things that do make me laugh is pretty high up there for me. The chemistry is there, especially compared to some of the romance books I had read previously. But yeah, it's really cute. It's very light, but if you need a good romance, need a good little bit spooky book, then definitely recommend. And then we get to My Vampire Plus One, which I read September 18th to 20th. And this follows the male lead's best friend and then the female lead's best friend's sister. I believe. But, and I really enjoyed this a lot too. The characters are super fun. But it's the same really fun humor. There's more funny things, like there's a glockenspiel that shows up at some point, and you know, that's just saying enough for you guys. There's a whole Discord server where the male lead's trying to get help. And it's so good. I love it so much. It's really sweet, really endearing, and also like Taxis somehow saves the day. So, you know, that should be enough to get you to read this book. But, you know, read the first one. Okay, and then we move on to the second pile. Yes, I needed 2 piles to make this. Even though I have some that were library books or Kindle books or other people have and whatever. So, some of you might know I kind of took a spiral when it comes to a particular music genre that I wasn't really into previously. So I've always been very hesitant within, I feel like, musical theater or musicals in general and K-pop are 2 things that I have liked a little bit but try to keep at arm's reach a little bit just because of the toxicity that tends to live within the fandoms, but also the conditions within those mediums to begin with. There's a lot of nuance and discussion to be had there, but I fell in love twice, which sent me more down other rabbit holes. But, so, we're talking about the With You Forever photo book. I read this September 22nd, and, you know, you guys know how to do my photo books, so I'll flip you guys a couple random ones. So here's Dahyun, gorgeous. Here's Chaeyoung. Chewy. Sana. But yeah, so this was a whole floral version. And I gave, 50 million notes because I use photo books in terms of educational resource for my cosplay sets. So I really analyze all the pictures and stuff. And I don't think you guys need to listen to stuff like that. But yeah, so it's a floral shoot. Really gorgeous, really pretty. Definitely recommend. But yeah, I'll leave that at that. There will definitely have more, so rest assured. And then we have another reread of Don't You Dare Read This, Mrs.Dunphrey by Margaret, Peterson, Haddix. And I read this September 3rd. I adore Margaret Peterson Haddix. She's one of my favorite childhood authors. And this book in particular is just, I think, really beneficial for the age group it's written for. I think it's one of the first books that really opened my eyes to the struggles that kids also have due to their parents' financial problems and how much that can fall on kids. So basically, this girl's in middle school, I believe, and for one of her assignments, she has to write a journal. But if she doesn't want the teacher to read it, she can just write, "Don't read this, Miss Dunphrey." And there's a point towards the end where she writes, "Please read all of it," and you can kind of watch the story unfold. I think it's great to build empathy and compassion. You never know what people are going through, and it is okay to ask for help. But I love that book. We're gonna take a quick water break because we've been going now for 20 minutes. Okay. Then my November book of the month was Love Conspiracies. Love and Other Conspiracies by Mallory Marlow. I read this October 15th through 17th. So this is about like a podcast company, and Girly needs to get a new podcast on board, and she gets this, or oh no, they make like internet short shows, if that makes sense, like web shows. That's the word. But she finds this conspiracy podcaster that, despite not believing in all the conspiracies, was very charismatic and thought would make a good part to the company and bring in new viewers. Sorry. And, you know, throughout it, she ends up being involved in the process, and, you know, they fall in love because it's romance. There's a North Florida reference, which, you know, and that's fun. There's a lot of cute banter within this book, some good mental health messaging in there, and there's also just I don't know, it's cute. It's very cute. It's not the most serious book to ever exist, but if you want a cute light read with like a little bit of, you know, something like that, then it's fun. Okay. We continue the trend, because while I got into twice, I also got into Itzy. Yeah. So this is Itzy's gold album and the rose gold version. I read this on November 3rd. I love this album. So I got Ryujin. Cherryung, Yuna, Yeji. Let's go one of each member. We only have 5. Leah. So it's a little bit easier to flip through. This is, you know, also a great album. So check it out if you want, you know, some Itzy. And then we continue the Itzy train with Born to Be version A, which is they call it red, but it's very orange. I got this November 6th. So much more serious concept. Here's a group shot of screen. And this is while Leah was on hiatus, so I only have 4 members to show you. That was Yuna, Cherry, I love this Ryujin shot. Yeji. Very dark. It goes with Born to Be aesthetic. But yeah, so there's that. Then also, I'm hyping, so, you know. I read this November 29th. I will say it's harder for me to support the boy groups as much as the girls. I should take them. So definitely don't stand quite as hard, but still do. So no. And let's go one more. some group shots. But yeah, so this is a little bit more lighthearted version of the romance untold. It's the a little bit more cutesy versions, I guess you could say. But this was my favorite, so it's the one I picked up. Then I read How the Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn, which, okay, let me let the cat out. Okay, the cat's been let out. Which my sister's borrowing right now, but I read this November 30th, and I blew through it, obviously. Very cute Christmas. It's all kind of centered around being a Grinch on Christmas, and then there's this competition, yada yada, so on and so forth. But they have pretty good banter, but at a lot of points they also need actually have a conversation, but they do. They eventually do. It takes a while. There's some trashing on American Girl, a little bit of them being creepy, and I heavily disagree, okay? Was I an American Girl kid? Yes. Actually, I was a lot of things, if that wasn't clear. So it's not act like I wasn't a Barbie kid either. Or ever after high, whatever. I cover my fandoms, but I do have a very special place for American Girl in my heart. I think they're a great way to start learning history. Well, okay. I love the historical ones. I mean, the make your own and whatnot are also cool and whatnot, but I'm saying whatnot too much. The delusion. The end of day. My point being, the historical ones are my favorites. So, just putting that out there, we need American Girl love. Also, I have a lot of the books, so I'll eventually be reading some of these on here. So, I will say, my one downside of this book was it's one of the few times I feel like the intimate scenes just kept going on. There's a point where I don't need to know anymore. The initial stuff, woo, and then it just kept going. I'm done. But overall, it was really cute. I would recommend for your next Christmas read. And then I read What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Aoyama. And this is a series of short stories all centered around the same library of people getting very random library book recommendations, but them just happening to be exactly what they need in their life. I read this December 5th. You have the individual people and their experiences with the library. What you need isn't always what you thought you would need. I will say the description of the librarian is very exaggerated. But it is what it is. The story itself, though, is really sweet, and I would definitely recommend. So, and I mean, there's a cat on the cover. I don't need to say anything else. Another water break. We're almost at 30, so. Okay. Okay, and then I read Dreadful by Caitlin. I definitely can't pronounce the last name, so read it. It will be in the description. I read this December 7th through 12th. And I also have the Barnes version with the sprayed edges, which, cool, fun. It's the same price as the normal, so why not, right? But this is about an evil wizard who loses his memories and doesn't remember why he's evil or what he's doing. And there's some great scheme, some plan going on that's gonna cost a lot. He doesn't know what's happening. So it's a little bit comedic in that sense, but there's also some heartwarming messages of what you've done in the past versus who you are now. It's a very cute premise. Wait, I'm gonna keep holding it. What am I doing? There's the identity struggle within it, trying to figure everything out, trying to be better and recognizing your flaws, and there's always room for more to continue on. So I really enjoyed this book. Would also recommend so if you can't read that, that is How to Piss Off Men, Kyle Prue. This is number 12 through 13. This book's, it's a comedy book. It starts with some very self-aware disclaimers of, at the end of the day, this is funny, and you can't use these on everyone or in certain circumstances, so please don't get hurt or injured. But it is so funny, very accurate, very funny, and because the author is a cishet white guy, there are several points where he's like, and I know this works. But very fun. So yeah, let's just leave that at that. And then we have more photo books. We have the Hakutor solo versions of MiSaMo's album for Mina. And I read this December 14th. Look how pretty. It's a very short photo book, but it packs a punch for sure. Like, stunning. I'm in love. So, there's that. Then Morgana and Oz by Miyuli? Something like that. And I read this December 16th. It's my first time actually reading it physically, but I have read this on the webtoon app. So we have our clumsy witch, who's not too good at her magic, who turns this vampire boy into a cat. Then they gotta figure out how to unturn him back. But in the process of everything, they start learning about why the witches and the vampires are at odds, and more things of reasons to help each other, and it's really cute. It's very heartwarming. The story starts with setting stuff on fire straight off the bat. It's beautiful. You have generational clan trauma. Oz as a cat is so cute. He's just adorable. Like, look at him. How can you not love him? There's a whole reference page of Oz as a cat. You have the plot unfolding. And there's quite a bit of ship art in the back too, which I won't show because you should go buy the physical and look at it yourself. So there you go. But if you want to test it, you can read it on Webtoon, but the physical version is definitely worth it as well. Okay, and then we move on to Most Wonderful, which was, well, is the January book for